Hello everyone, let's have more news about the Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. The Los Angeles Lakers don't have much draft capital this year. All they had was the number 55 pick in the second round. However, ahead of the second round of the draft, the Lakers decided to trade with the Chicago Bulls to move up to pick number 45. That won't make a major difference for who the team will be able to select, but it's possible that they have their eyes set on a player. One interesting player to watch could be Duke guard Zion James. In Jonathan Wasserman's latest mock draft for Bleacher Report, he projects the Lakers to take James at number 45. Teams could want to take a chance on Zion James's outlier strength for a wing or ball handler, Wasserman wrote. At 218 pounds, he's a force downhill with secondary playmaking ability and accurate spot-up shooting numbers, 46.9%. Most mock drafts have linked the Lakers to bigs, but James could be an appealing player. He spent 5 years in college, including last year at Duke. He was able to play for one of the top college basketball programs in the country, so he might be a player who could crack the rotation as a rookie. James has developed into a solid two-way player over the years. Last season, he made 41.3% of his three-point shots, while also being named to the ACC All-Defensive Team. He'd be an older rookie at 22, so his upside will be limited, but in the second round, the Lakers just need to find dependable bench players. In Kevin O'Connor's draft profile on James for Yahoo Sports, he believes that he's a good player who needs to keep thriving as a shooter to have success at the NBA level. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Just relaxing. Looking forward to the draft, and here we are, golfing a little bit. Paying some bills and things like that. You know what I mean?
Can Allie and I join you one of these days?
I've been trying to get a Spectrum outing. I got some guys, Andrew, some other guys want to play. I haven't done it yet, but of course.
I don't think you want me on the links.
We'll be really good on the
You're
golf
a bartender, Chris.
Yeah, bartender.
We'll take care of that.
There's a bar cart. You can drive that. Yeah.
I'm all for that.
That'll be really fun.
We'll look that up.
We got you on that.
Yeah.
Good to see the both of you. The Lakers not only moved up once, they moved up twice in the second round. This tweet from ESPN NBA reporter David McMenamin. The Lakers have traded from number 55 to number 45, and then number 45 to number 36 per Shams Charania, trading up in order to draft Adou Thiero out of Arkansas. Now, here's a little more on the Lakers' 36th pick. A junior out of Arkansas, Adou Thiero is a 6'6", 218-pound forward. He spent 2 years at Kentucky with John Calipari before following him to Arkansas this past season. Arkansas defeated Kansas and St. John's before falling to Texas Tech in overtime in the NCAA tournament. And fortunately for all of us, Adou will be joining us here on the show in just a few minutes. But before we hear from him on what it was in terms of a special night, let's talk about the basketball player. Big Game, what do you think?
Yeah, to me, Adou is, again, a continuation of what the NBA prototype player is starting to look like now. 6'8", 6'6", 6'7", wingspan, defender. Adou is tough as nails. He's been under the tutelage of one of the coaches that prepares players to come into the NBA under Calipari. So the Lakers are getting a tough defender with size, and he can't be manipulated or bullied on defensive end. Is something that we have gone up against Minnesota, going up against some of the tough defenders at his size. So I welcome his toughness. Obviously, got a lot of work to do, but great pickup for us.
James, great analogy. I mean, what the Lakers are getting is a guy who has a ton of ability. Just a real good athlete, some really good raw skills, 45 dunks last season at Arkansas. Played first 2 years at Kentucky, then he followed Coach Calipari to Arkansas and continued to be a very good two-way player there. Needs to work on his shot a little bit. He's only about a 28% career three-point shooter. Obviously, the deal is he's got the ability, he's got the NBA body, he's got great defensive skills. Can the Lakers work on that shot a little bit? He's got the D. Can he eventually turn into a 3-and-D type of player? But I love what I'm hearing about the kid. I mean, the Lakers cost him a future second-round draft pick and millions of dollars. We don't know the exact number of that, but probably I would say safe to say a few million to move up twice. You got to kind of bribe these other teams for their spots. Bottom line, they have Adou in the fold, James, and eager to see what he can do. One thing I've heard, kind of like a Dorian Finney-Smith player without the three-point accuracy. He'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
One thing's for sure, he's not only excited to be a Los Angeles Laker, he's excited to get to work. The Lakers have had some success picking in the second round in the past. Ivica Zubac was the 32nd overall pick back in 2016 and has flourished since his 2019 trade to the Clippers. Jordan Clarkson spent 4 good years here in LA before moving on to Cleveland and Utah. How about Marc Gasol, Luke Walton, Nick Van Exel? They were some other notable second-round picks. The Lakers hope their newest addition, Adou Thiero, can follow in these guys' footsteps. We want to welcome to the show and to Laker Nation, of course, the number 36 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, Adou Thiero. Adou, thanks for taking the time and congratulations. Absolutely. We are going to dive right in. Certainly just want to get your reaction to being called at 36 to join the Los Angeles Lakers. What was that moment like for you?
It's a blessing, just grateful to hear my name called at the end of the day. But, just to join a great organization like the Lakers, I can't even put it into words.
When you look at the style of play that the NBA has incorporated over the last 10 years, a lot of it has to do with defense and having stoppers on the team. What do you think you're going to fit in, and what are you looking forward to? What kind of style of play are you looking forward to playing in the NBA?
Sure, I'm ready to go in and do whatever I got to do to see the floor, help the team, just doing whatever Coach JJ need me to do.
Adou, my question is pretty simple. 24 hours ago, you had no idea you'd be drafted by the Lakers. You're going to be playing alongside LeBron James and Luka Doncic. When you think about that, what sinks in right now?
It's definitely crazy because it was like, damn, I was just watching them on TV. I was at a couple of Laker games, the playoffs. It was just, it's still crazy to, just think about right now. I still haven't made peace with it. I don't think I will anytime soon.
I think it's very true, Big Game. As we were talking about earlier, you're so overcome with emotion, which we just simply love to see. Adou, you come from a very athletic family. Your mom, your dad, they both played. Your mom was drafted by the Mystics. I believe your sister is out there dunking. What's the biggest advice you've been given from them?
Their biggest advice to me was, control what you can control. And I feel like I've, that's just stuck with me my whole life. And I've, anytime it's something I control, I just try and do my best at it and just do what I do. Stuff offensive players do in the league. So just trying to pick up off of, OG, Anunoby, Drew Holiday. He's a great defender. Just picking up on what they do, watching how they play defense.
Adou, Mike again. What's one thing you want to show Laker fans about your skill set, and what's one thing need to work on a little bit before you start hitting the NBA courts in a couple months?
I feel like just working on everything, working on my whole craft. I'm just excited to do that. Get around guys who just want to keep working and just learn from them.
Before I ask you my final one, Adou, I saw the smile on your face when I mentioned that your sister's dunking. What was that moment like?
That was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little because I think we started dunking at the same time. It was my sophomore year summer, and then she got hers. Yeah, she got her dunk. So I was a little mad, I'll say. But she's dunking, so I just I got to be happy for her. I told her she got to learn some new tricks though. I don't want to see no more rim graders.
Nothing but love for the sibling rivalry and relationship there. We love it. I do want to end with a part of a quote I came across from your college coach, John Calipari, where he said, quote, Adou is somebody that if you pass on him, they'll look back and say, how many people passed on him? He's that good and a good kid. What do you want Laker fans to know about the player and person they're getting in you?
I feel like I'm a loving, caring person. I'm family oriented, but y'all can expect a different mode every time I step on the floor. That's carry myself with a different demeanor. It's kill mode from there. It's go out there, let's work. It's dog eat dog.
I can hear it now. Adou. Yes, that's coming. Get used to that.
That's fine.
We love it. We love it, dude. Thank you and congratulations again. Obviously, enjoy this moment and best of luck for what lies ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And general manager Rob Pelinka has made 5 draft picks the last 4 seasons. Adu Thero is the latest in a group that includes Dalton Knecht and Bronny James last year, Jalen Hood-Schifino in 2023, and Max Christie, 35th overall back in 2022. I want to take this time to welcome in General Manager and President of Basketball Operations, Rob Pelinka. Great to see you as always, Rob. Congratulations on taking Adu Thero at number 36. A busy day indeed for you guys. You start with number 55, you move up to 45, eventually ending there at number 36. How would you quantify just the process throughout today and the days leading up, and then, of course, what you and the staff see in Adu?
Yeah, Allie, we were super aggressive to begin the day, knowing that we didn't have a first-round pick. Adu was projected by our scouts as a first-round talent, and so we were able to turn 55, which is a late second-round pick, to a high second-round pick. To pick a player that we had projected in the first round, so it's almost like having the first-round pick that we traded out. So. Tons of credit, thankful for the support of, Jeannie to allow us to be aggressive and use resources to win at the margins, move up in the draft, and get a player that we really think is going to dimensionalize our roster. We just felt like one of the things we needed to address is to get younger and more athletic on the wings. And being able to get a player like Adu that can, catch lobs from the corner when Luka is making paint decisions, I think is going to be really special. And then he's just big shoulders, big chest, a guy that's going to play defense and add some physicality and athleticism to our roster. So super excited about that.
Rob, I was going to say the prototype player now seems to be a two-way player, but more importantly, the tough, physical wingspan guy that plays defense. You welcome that type of player to this roster, I believe.
Big game. You're spot on. I mean, I think all of us watch the playoffs, and just the way the game's being officiated now, there's a lot more physicality in the game. And so being able to add a young man like Adu who's just gifted, he's a beast. I think obviously we're going to get him in the weight room and get him conditioned, but I think the tools that he has, you can really see a vision for him to being one of those really elite physical, athletic wings that are so necessary to winning in the league.
Rob, for our viewers, who are some current-day players or maybe past-day players who are comparable to Adu and what he brings to the court? He did just say that he's interested in being kind of like an OG Anunoby type of player.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great name. Obviously, OG's an incredible player that's done so much in the league, and don't want to put pressure on anyone to become someone else, but that archetype is definitely it. He's got the 6'7" frame. He's incredibly explosive. I think he's a developing shooter. He's a lob catcher. I think on the other side of the ball, he's going to be an elite defender, and he has all the tools there. And, J.J. Redick and I actually hosted him in our building a couple weeks ago, took him to lunch, and really got to know his character. That's such an important part of the equation. And he's a great young man and hungry to get better and learn and grow. And we feel like we have a great player development staff here, and super excited about all that.
And with that said, Rob, obviously, as we know, you and the staff will turn every stone to put forth a championship roster. A strong emphasis at the end of season was finding a big man. Obviously, you get that strong two-way kind of individual in Adu, but what does this mean in terms of the big man moving forward?
Yeah, coming off the draft now, we'll be, digging deep in meetings upstairs, just prepping for free agency. And as I said, at the end of the year, we know one of the things we have to address is the center position. And that's clearly going to be one of our focuses as we begin the free agency period. And that's right around the corner. So we're looking forward to just putting in the hard work and making sure we, take care of all the needs on the roster to give JJ the tools he needs for this team to be great next season.
Rob, most fans think that when you get the pick, they take a deep breath and they think, okay, we got the pick, let's go now. But talk about where your job continues to keep going. You got the pick. Talk about what happens after the pick and what your job endures.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it starts with the scouts and, kind of putting together our rankings and our board. And again, this was a player that we had in the first round, so great value. And then now it's getting a contract signed with the player to be part of the team, which happens over the next few days. And then, James, right from there is, the NBA Summer League in Vegas. So these guys, they go from getting drafted with a little break to celebrate with family and friends and then get thrown right into the NBA fire. So no rest for the weary.
Rob, obviously free agency starts in a few days here. Not a ton of money for you guys to spend because you're so far over the salary cap. Of course, that opens up the question, is a trade in the works? How do you kind of weigh how active you need to be working the phones right now?
Super active. We're going to turn over every stone, and whatever resources the collective bargaining gives us, we're going to use to the utmost. That's what we got to do. And we have a couple players with player options, so we'll get those decisions in just a handful of days. And at that point, we'll know the tools that we have to go out into free agency and fill out the roster. But with the draft ending tonight, the work for that's already begun, but the focus now will turn from draft focus to free agency, and we won't rest till we get it right.
You're a very busy man, Rob. As always, we appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on all the moves made today to land a duo, of course.
Appreciate you guys. Good to connect.
As always, the draft might be over, but Rob Pelinka isn't done working. Shams tweeted this out shortly after the draft. Villanova star Eric Dixon has agreed to a two-way NBA contract with the Los Angeles Lakers, sources tell ESPN. Dixon was the #1 scorer in college basketball last season, shooting 41% from three-point range. So it's not often you find major second-round success stories in the NBA. Guys like Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson, Draymond Green are kind of the outliers. So when you are picking in the second round or even signing undrafted players, Big Game, what are you looking for?
To me, it seems like the first round, you get the talent, you get the flags, you get the exciting, you get the players that everyone is talking about. The second round seems like you get older players, a little bit more mature players, maybe been in the college maybe 3 or 4 years, and you're getting a shooter. You're getting someone who can, as far as the pick, you're getting, guys who are experienced a little bit. You look at the history of the second round, and even in my day, you had, guys like Joe Dumars, guys like that. They seem to have a little bit more experience, maybe been in college a little bit longer, and they bring a little bit more calmness and experience right away, where you don't have to teach them as much. When I think of Austin Reeves, undrafted, who has that maturity, and so I think that's what you get when you get in that second round of players.
Yeah, James, great analysis. I would add that, nowadays it's really one of two things. Take the Lakers today. Are they going to draft for need? They obviously need a big man. They passed on that. So they went with best available player. And now more than ever, these second round picks, Allie and James, especially when you're higher in the second round, you're going to be called upon because teams like the contracts, cheaper contracts, let's say, of a second round player. And you have so many guys making so much money on the top part of your roster.
Breaking news, the Lakers have signed Villanova sharpshooter Eric Dixon on a two-way contract at the conclusion of the NBA draft. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the LakersNation.com YouTube channel. Let's talk about what they're getting in Eric Dixon. Joining me is Matt the Optimist Peralta. Matt, interesting draft night. They get Adu Thoreau, and now following that up with Eric Dixon here. Summer League shaping up to look pretty exciting, I think, for these Lakers.
I cannot be any happier, Trevor, to be honest with you. As the board started to kind of fall and I saw Eric Dixon fall, I was like, oh, there's a real possibility that he can end up as an undrafted free agent. And he was high on my priority list. I tweeted it out maybe 10 minutes before the draft ended. And lo and behold, he signs a two-way with the Lakers. And so you and I were joking offline right before this video about how the Lakers kind of drafted the best of both worlds. We got the super raw offensive guy who will just throw things into oblivion and is super athletic. And then we've got the sniper big man that shoots a ton of threes but can't dunk for whatever reason. So this is a great combo of players. I feel like the Lakers addressed a lot of needs in the draft alone, and so overall, I think I can start to see the vision of what this roster and what JJ Redick kind of wants to do, Trevor.
Yeah, so I mean that's basically what Eric Dixon is in terms of his ability. Leading scorer in college basketball, obviously that matters. He is a 6'8" big man, 6'11 and a half wingspan, and the dude could just put the ball in the basket, right? He could score, really solid shooter from all over the floor. 3-level scorer, and so you got to love that, but doesn't have the same athleticism as say Thoreau, and so that's the maybe the concern, and that's why he slipped as far as he did and wound up going undrafted. But it does shape up for it to be an interesting addition to the Lakers here because he does have that scoring ability. The questions for him are going to be athleticism. Can he get to where you need him to be? As you said, can he dunk? He had 5 dunk attempts in college basketball last season, and he only made 3 of them. So that's not great for a big man. But again, leading scorer in college basketball, that's got to count for something. The guy can fill it up. Pretty intelligent player when it comes to that, and just a sweet shooting stroke for a guy who's 6'8". So I think it's an interesting fit for the Lakers, somebody that can certainly do some work for them, and at the very least be a floor spacer. So I'm excited. I think this is a good pick for them, and somebody who he's the kind of guy, Matt, that in Summer League comes out and shoots like 5 of 7 from deep, and we all feel like he's going to hit every single 3 he takes.
Yeah, he's definitely an intriguing prospect for sure. I think what makes him a little bit of contradictory of a player is because he's got the sweet shooting stroke, like you mentioned, but he's also a pretty physical player on the interior. Like, yes, he's not athletic, but he's very physical. So he will bully smaller players in the post and score. Like, he's not just a shooter. He's a legitimate 3-level scorer. That's why I think on a 2-way, you're getting excellent value with Eric Dixon. Defensively, I think we're just going to have to accept there are going to be some limitations there, both being undersized, not very quick laterally, not athletic at all. So he's going to have struggles there, but you're taking a shot at him for his scoring opportunities. And if you're kind of laying out the Summer League team right now, you're going to have Bronny, presumably Dalton Connect for a little bit. You'll have Adu Thoreau, and then now you add Eric Dixon to that mix. You've got a pretty nice set of, athleticism, shooting. Again, I think this is going to mirror how the Lakers are going to want to play next season. So I'm excited to see how this pans out, Trevor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you add a 3-level score. We'll see. I mean, will Dalton Connect play in Summer League? That'll be something that'll be interesting to see as well. I think he should. I hope he does. Fingers crossed.
Think so too.
Yeah. But that could make for a really interesting Summer League squad. And look, this is a 2-way contract, so we should keep in mind, just to note, now, as we saw starting a few seasons ago, you can have 3 2-way players on your roster. The Lakers already have Trey Jemison, whose 2-way contract from last season continues. Now, should they decide they wanted to move on from Trey Jemison, 2-way contracts are very, very flexible, and they could do that in an instant if they decide there's somebody else they want to give a 2-way contract to. But so right now, the Lakers have Eric Dixon and Trey Jemison currently on 2-way contracts. So that's how that's shaping up currently. And sometimes those 2-way contracts matter. I mean, look, Alex Caruso back in the day was the very first 2-way contract ever for the Los Angeles Lakers. There was a point in time when Austin Reeves was on a 2-way contract. These contracts, while they oftentimes don't wind up panning out, they aren't something to just ignore either. And when you do find a guy who winds up clicking for your team on a 2-way contract, it is such a huge benefit to your franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not likely that you hit on these, but in the rare chance you do and you get cheap young talent for a couple years, that's a massive win for the Lakers. And again, like, given the parity in the league now, I think it's so important to win on the edges. So we're not saying for certain that Eric Dixon will pan out, but I think given the undrafted free agent pool, I don't think you could have done any better here if you were the Lakers. So again, not to be biased, but I think this is another A move from Los Angeles today, Trevor.
By the way, we should mention in terms of the stats, I know people are always concerned. We talked about it in the Thoreau video just a little bit ago about the shooting percentage. 41% from
on 7 attempts.
On 7 attempts per game. The anti-Thoreau here, who struggled as far as his ability to shoot the basketball, or struggles, although there is hope. There is upside there for his shooting ability and hope. As I did a little bit of digging, it's the hand situation that could be an issue there with him. And but my understanding is that the Lakers did have on Thoreau a first-round grade.
As they
So
should have.
as they should have. But so that's in part of why they were so excited that they grabbed a guy and why they spent the money that they did to move up and get him. They had a first round grade on him, but the concern with him is the shooting. Not the case with Dixon. 41% from three, 45% from the field, 3-level scorer. Can do some work on the boards. I like that you add in a little bit of offensive rebounding talent as well here with Dixon, and that speaks to the physicality that you mentioned. And when we talk about these two guys that the Lakers have added so far, that is the common denominator. As different as Thoreau and Dixon are, in terms of one, hyper athletic guy who struggles shooting the ball, but makes most of his impact on the defensive side versus an incredible scorer who struggles a little bit defensively and with athleticism. The commonality between the two of them, it's physicality. They are both aggressive. Will both punish you in the paint, and they both offer that kind of physical presence. So and I think, Matt, maybe that's something the Lakers lacked a little bit last season. And so I think that'll be a nice addition.
I do not think that was an accident, Trevor. I think that these were targeted moves by the Lakers to beef up their front line and any positions really in the physicality department. And I brought this point up too in our earlier video, but just about how the rigors of the 82-game season plus the playoffs, you kind of need guys that are built for the physical play that they'll see later down the road. And not saying, again, Eric Dixon's going to be in the playoff rotation or anything, but I'm just saying if you're going to try to build that identity, this is a good target for you as a two-way player.
Another thing worth noting as well, he was a redshirt freshman that had to work his way up into Villanova now, all-time leading scorer for Villanova. So, I mean, this is that's a big deal, right? You talk about work ethic and all of that. That's especially for a player who's coming in as a two-way player. They're going to have to grind. They're going to have to battle their way into the NBA. So for Eric Dixon to already have that in his background, a redshirt freshman that fought his way up into this role on the team, that's something that I think is worth mentioning too with him, and something that hopefully will serve him well here in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, these are crapshoots. These are gambles. But if you're the Lakers, you try to get the most upside here. And I think they did absolutely that with Eric Dixon.
For sure. Lakers Nation, give us your thoughts on this edition in the comment section down below. Eric Dixon joining the Lakers on a two-way contract. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the LakersNation.com YouTube channel. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.
Nikola Jokic led the Denver Nuggets with an historic performance this season, even though his team fell short in the second-round series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The three-time MVP averaged 29.6 points, 12.7 rebounds, and 10.2 assists in 70 games, including NBA history-making 30-20-20 and 40 15-15 outings. He remains one of the most dominant big men to ever play in the league. Jokic's contract, which he signed in 2022, runs through the 2027-28 season, though the final season is a player option. On July 8th, Jokic becomes eligible for a 3-year Supermax extension worth $212 million. Many assume the team will offer and he will eventually sign such an extension. The decision will shape Denver's future, even as financial and roster strategies come into sharper focus. However, an eyebrow-raising comment from Nuggets owner Josh Kroenke stunned the NBA. Discussing the consequences of the second salary cap apron during a press conference on Tuesday, Kroenke warned salary constraints mixed with a catastrophic injury could force Denver into considering a Jokic trade. That is a shocking admission, considering Jokic is widely viewed as the Nuggets' immutable cornerstone. The wrong person gets injured, and very quickly you're in a scenario that I never want to contemplate, and that's trading number 15, Kroenke admitted. That statement, although hypothetical, quickly sparked reactions from Lakers fans excited about the idea of Jokic potentially being available one day. While a trade remains exceedingly unlikely, the blockbuster midseason acquisition of Luka Doncic by Los Angeles continues to fuel optimism about the Lakers landing more superstars in the future. In reality, Denver still builds its plans firmly around its MVP big man. But Kroenke's admission serves as a reminder that in today's NBA, no player is truly untouchable. And you, fan, what do you think about Nikola Jokic's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.